Hi guys, thanks a
Coming
lot.
back and watching another video, or for finding my little channel and this video. Thank you. And I hope you're interested in today's readings on James Charles and his upcoming new makeup brand, right? I think his new makeup is supposed to come out next week. If I'm not mistaken, even at the beginning of next week. I thought it would be interesting to focus on how this launch will go and what's its purpose, because as we all know, or the majority of whoever clicked on this video know, James Charles is, how do I say it politely, highly controversial figure, right? Who has done quite a few questionable things, and his behavior toward young people especially has been questionable at times. I think that's enough said. I thought it would be interesting, having all that in mind, and also having in mind that James Charles said he had been working on his brand for 4 years, apparently, to know how his launch is gonna go, how everybody is gonna receive his new brand, and what will come out of it, and what kind of work has James put in. So let's start. Okay. So, dear universe, please let us know, how will James' new launch go? How will James' new makeup launch go? Will it be okay? Oh, alright. Kind of feel like those are already quite a bit of cards. Okay. I would say at the very first glance, it's a mixed bag, right? So we have the Nine of Swords card, for instance, which of course is more of an indication of problems and worries and thinking about what could go wrong, or if problems has already risen and happened, debating them, discussing them, being worried and distressed about the whole situation, right? This beautiful young woman is literally crying. So there's that. Then on the other hand, we also have the world, which I think generally speaking is a very positive sign. It's literally the whole world the person is achieving and getting, and maybe probably working towards their dreams and hopes, and the end result, I would say, is always a positive one with this card. It's a positive end result and ending. On the other hand, we have the Five of Swords, for instance, card where the person is worried about being backstabbed, about betrayals, or about things which haven't been completely finished and maybe won't go according to plan. So I kind of feel like those two together would symbolize James's and maybe somebody else's worries of how all this will go. And I think there are quite a bit of things in the background, also having the Five of Wands in mind, right? You literally see, in this instance especially, competition, but also arguments and conflicts. 5 people trying to climb almost on top of each other. Some of them are falling. So again, together the Swords cards, those represent the hardships and discussions which had been had in the course of, them preparing for the launch and developing the product. And I think there had been quite a lot of discussions and conflicts and disagreements, which obviously would make sense, right? If you are working on any kind of serious long-term project. This could also stand for some people who tried maybe to take advantage of other people, backstab them, or quite a bit of maybe disloyalty as well, or dishonesty even, allegedly. Then we have the Three of Pentacles card, them working together. You see a group of 3 people working together in order to weave this clause, right? So I think this is teamwork. Interestingly enough, I've already tried to do a James Charles reading and film it yesterday, and my footage was abysmal. I tried to check out and try out a new camera, and it didn't work at all. James Charles didn't want my reading to come out. No, I'm just joking, obviously, of course. But yes, this card came up as well. In this funny thing is, as with everything, I think, in every profession, if you're reading tarot cards, there are quite a few different cards, different ones, which could come up, but their proximity to other cards, how they're lying, in which order, and just the overall meaning. They are cards which each and every card is individual and unique, right? Of course. But still they are cards which have similar meaning. Even so, we obviously are not getting exactly the same cards as I did yesterday. But the overall meaning obviously stays the same, which completely makes sense, right? Why wouldn't it? Oh no, not my incense being too strong. So this card came up yesterday as well. And this is a person which is quite afraid about her finances, right? This woman is holding tight to her purse, really tight. So maybe that's even James. It's either James who is worried whether it will be a profitable thing for him or not, or it could also indicate investors maybe, in this instance I feel like, who allegedly backed out or stopped, financing the brand, or even maybe with how much money James himself had to invest and had to put into this project. I think maybe he wanted to put in more money, but it wasn't there, or I don't know. He was concerned whether it would be profitable or not. So I think there were and still are financial risks and question marks and uncertainty to a certain level. And last but not least, we have the King of Cups, which is quite a creative, emotional person, right? But because it's a king and he's a pride, I think he's quite in tune with his emotions, and he's quite sure of himself and what he has achieved already. So maybe I feel like this is how James Charles wants to be when he grows up. No, he is grown up, of course. How James Charles attempts to be and attempt to be perceived by others, but he's also at the same time very worried and unsure of this whole launch. And I feel like the Six of Wands cards is quite, you see the young woman on stage, literally being celebrated on stage like a rock star or a celebrity, which James kinda, to a certain degree, is, at least in YouTube's world. But here it's like a victory fire already ignited next to her. I kind of feel in this instance it's him being like the go-getter type of person and be like, let's do this, let's make it happen, we've got this, and hype people up and hype his product up. I kind of feel like, to answer my own question, if it's gonna be successful, it's really a mixed bag. There is quite a bit of potential here, right, with the World card being upright and the Six of Wands card, and him putting his best foot forward, if that's James or even somebody else who's been working for him on this project. There has been quite a bit of effort put into this whole thing, right? That's true, I feel like. But at the same time, there also have been quite a few financial difficulties, quite a few arguments, discussions, failed ideas and beginnings, and worries and sleepless nights, so to speak. I feel like those of you who have seen my previous readings, if you haven't, there are 2 on Ari and her new relationship, and 2 on Carly Russell. If you're interested, go watch them. But those of you who have seen my previous readings, you're already familiar with this Wisdom of the Oracle deck, which is one of my favorites. It's such a whimsical, beautiful one. So, same question, dear universe, dear Oracle, how will this lunch turn out? What will be the outcome of this lunch, of James' lunch? Okay. What will be the outcome of James' lunch? So, we have these two cards and these two cards. Poised, exchanging gifts, between worlds in reverse, and building blocks. Interesting that the poised card also came up yesterday when I tried to do this reading before, and I've said, and I still feel kinda, that's James Charles, how he tries to present himself. How he wants the public to see him right now as this poised individual who has everything under control, who is graceful and collected and self-confident. But that's not the whole truth. Allegedly. Exchanging gifts, I feel like, can be him networking behind the scenes. PR packages definitely can be seen as gifts, I feel like. So this is basically him putting effort into this lunch and trying to, you know, give them samples, literally send him gifts, send him his product, and trying to optimize the outcome of the lunch this way. But the building blocks in reverse, I kind of feel like are his efforts and the efforts of his colleagues, the people working for him on this lunch, not being as great as they wanted them to be. Them trying to organize and build all these building blocks is in reverse. So again, I think this speaks of them running into quite a bit of difficulty and maybe rejection, or maybe deals fell through, you know, which they counted on. And then, last but not least, the Between the Worlds card in reverse is probably James first trying to literally be both a businessman and a makeup brand owner and a celebrity and a YouTuber, and he tried to organize everything at once, and it hasn't been working out so well. I think this is a sign of him biting off a bit too much, more than he could chew. Kinda. The universe, how will the lunch overall go? Can you give us one or two cards, please? Interesting. The star is literally a celebrity card, so to speak. And the Page of Wands is quite a positive card, right? A passionate card. Do you see the paintbrush on this card? Isn't that funny? There's literally a paintbrush swirling around this person. So both of them are James. James is hoping and praying and wishing that everything will go great, and he's optimistic, and the Page of Wands is quite an optimistic person who is a creative one, hoping for the best, having great ideas. And the star is also a very hopeful one, right? Looking up into the sky here. Those both cards are James in this instance. Okay, so that is a good segue into the next question, being what are James's goals with this lunch? What are James's goals for this lunch? What are James's goals and hopes for this lunch? Okay. Interesting that we have 2 pentacle cards. The 6 of Pentacles is quite a great card in the financial sense, right? Which speaks of financial success and rewards. But at the same time, we have the 9 of Pentacles in reverse. From where I'm standing and how I'm reading the card, his motivation is financial, plain and simple. So on the one hand, he's hoping for it to be a great success. On the other hand, I feel like this person, the 9 of Pentacles person in this card, because it's in reverse, is probably a workaholic and maybe doesn't have a great work-life balance. So I think because Charles is so heavily focused on it being a financial success, he is neglecting maybe other aspects of this lunch or of this project, or which would be beneficial for them if he would concentrate on other different aspects as well, maybe, and not just trying to make it a financial success. And I think those 2 cards especially are corresponding to each other in this instance. It's a Page of Swords in reverse. The Page of Swords in upright is a young person who is trying to learn as much as they can. You see this girl holding a huge book, right? And balloons in form of light bulbs. Which is such a great idea for a drawing. But in this case, she's in reverse. So I kind of feel like Charles is not implementing everything he could be implementing. All his new knowledge, or not even new, but the knowledge he gained over the years being a YouTuber, and working with other brands. He's not implementing all the strategies he could be. Okay, and last but not least, this reading is already very long, I feel like, but I want to know what were the difficulties they ran on this makeup brand and launch. James has said they've been working for 4 years, so if they did have, what were the difficulties for them? What were the difficulties others and colleagues of James and James specifically ran into, while developing the brand? Okay, we've got these cards. 10 of Cups, 7 of Cups, and 8 of Swords. So the 8 of Swords card, you see this young woman and she's looking at herself kind of in the mirror, and she sees herself not like her real self, but being tied up literally and blind. So I kind of feel like one of the main things was just James Charles being in his head and being highly insecure, and him being worried about the public perception, and him thinking that his public perception and how we are viewing him, right, as a person, literally is leaving him tied completely, his hands being tied, him not being able to do anything from his point of view, right? The 10 of Cups, on the other hand, is my happily ever after card, so to speak, usually, right? Where there's always a rainbow at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. At the end of the day, there's this couple sitting together, probably being together, right, as a couple, happily. We don't see their faces, but from what we see, they are probably their 2 child running around, children. So I kind of feel like this was the reality of James Child card, and this was his goal, or the outcome he was wishing for, a happily ever after, everything is gonna be fine and great card. And the 7 of Cups in the middle, kind of feel like the 7 of Cups here are all of the ideas James had. Mainly the difficulties were James Charles himself and him being too nervous, too stressed out, too in his head about everything, maybe having a little bit of too many different ideas, even though the 7 of Cups is upright here, but I kind of feel like he was struggling in choosing what idea, what plan to choose from. Let's ask our oracle deck as well. What were the difficulties for James and colleagues while working on the brand? What were they struggling with? What were the struggles for James? What were the struggles for James? So, or just 2 cards. This is from the previous one. Okay, so maybe another very important thing was the observer, being a smart fox who is literally taking note. I kind of feel like the observer and the Page of Swords in reverse go hand in hand. So maybe the struggles were to be quite literally observant enough and to take everything into account, to think everything through and to plan for all the circumstances which could occur, And the Fates, I feel like is a card of someone who is secure in their beliefs, who believe in, their path and their success, and it being in reverse is probably the difficulty of them just believing in themselves and James believing in his own product and in his own dream. Okay, and last but not least, will this lunch change the public perception of James? Will this lunch change the public perception of James? Whoa, okay. Quite a lot of cards again we've gotten here. Okay. The 2 of Pentacles. The Sun. 4 of Wands. 10 of Swords. King of Swords. And 7 of Pentacles in reverse. Looking at the 2 of Pentacles and the 7 of Pentacles in reverse, and the 10 of Swords card, and the 4 of Wands card in reverse, looking at all those cards in reverse, my first initial answer would be no. The perception of Charles won't be better, or won't get that much better. At least I feel like in the financial sense. We've seen quite a bit of cards already, right, in this reading. I feel like James is pretty preoccupied with this being, especially financially, a great lunch. And I kind of feel like the 2 of Pentacles being in reverse is maybe, committing to too many things, doing too much at once, having maybe too many different financial, too many projects. And thus, too many cooks in the kitchen, maybe even. And so the 7 of Pentacles, this card is such a great visual representation, right? You see this tree and all these coins on its roots, all these pentacles. I would say it won't yield the desired outcome. Literally, James planting the plant, right? But it won't completely grow into a beautiful tree. Probably James will be frustrated by it. Will be frustrated and be losing his patience because he's so focused on this project and this brand and this lunch being profitable financially. And the 10 of Swords, I kind of feel like being in reverse is him overthinking too much and worrying too much again. But there's also the Sun, and the Sun is literally a very bright, optimistic card. So it's not all bad. Because the question was whether this lunch will change our perception of him. Yeah, again, I kind of feel like he will lose patience, or he is losing patience. He wants everything to move quicker. The 4 of Wands, I feel like when it's upright, it's usually also a card indicating calm. a place where you feel secure and seen and happy. And in reverse, it's a place where you don't feel as secure. You don't feel as much at home, right? So maybe the Four of Wands in reverse is kind of us, the public, and the internet. We are still not ready to welcome him with open arms again, right? And the King of Swords being a very clever, very seasoned, very ambitious, strategic individual, right? The swords are the suit who is corresponding the most to thinking and planning and strategizing. Maybe it's James, but it also may be somebody behind him who is helping him to strategize and come up with new ideas and new content and new everything. So I kind of feel like the overall perception, at least in the next couple of weeks or maybe months, won't be swayed. It won't be as fast as James wanted to be, but there is quite literally a light at the end of the tunnel. So, well, maybe with time, and if James changes a few things, you know what I mean? Okay, so I hope this reading has been interesting and helpful and entertaining as always. Thanks for your patience, thanks for watching it through, and if you liked it, give this video a like, give it a thumbs up, maybe even subscribe to my channel if you're interested in tarot. Have a great upcoming week, full of happiness hopefully, and light and positivity, and I hope to see you again on my channel. Thanks for watching. Thank you guys.